What is up, my friends? Welcome back to the journey. Hope you all have had a good few weeks. It's been sort of a weird few weeks here. The rain has moved in. Summertime is definitely on us, and tropical weather and all of that stuff. So we did go, Mary and I went to Fort DeSoto Beach last weekend, but it was so windy, it sort of just kind of ruined. You couldn't really talk or do anything, but I'll show you some of the clips from that day because we did find a lot of good shells and it was still a pretty day at the beach. Really cool piece of sponge here. This here is a lightning whelk seed pod. Unfortunately, at this beach, a lot of the sand dollars that you're going to find are broken up. Now, in my last video, there were a lot of comments asking about how I know so much about shells and that kind of thing, and I wanted to share with you guys a little bit of my background in as far as basically growing up on the beach. My parents used to take me to the beach all the time, and I've always had a love for the beach and everything in it. So I've always studied it, read books about it, took any classes when I was in school that I could about it. And I even majored in biology with a minor in oceanography in college. So a lot of my knowledge comes from that. Some of my favorite classes actually in college were one, botany, which is all plants and everything. And the other was the invertebrate zoology class, which is basically seashells and other animals that do not have backbones. So those two were probably my favorite classes that I took, but that's where a lot of my knowledge came from, that and just being so interested in the ocean my whole life. And I decided to try to use some of that knowledge to share some information with you guys. We went to Honeymoon Beach and found that it was being not only restored at the time, but red tide had showed up as well. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Hope you guys learned something. If you don't know anything about either one of those things, maybe some of you do. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different of sort of an educational type video. So don't forget to smash that thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, thanks for checking us out. If you don't mind subscribing and tap that notification bell to get all notifications. And let's go ahead and get into this video from Honeymoon Island, my friends. So as anyone who lives by the beach knows, one of the biggest problems is erosion, whether it be from the constant waves, the longshore drift, or from storms. Beach sand is always getting taken away. There's many different ways that we've tried to stop this from happening. Inevitably though, a storm will come through, or strong currents, and sand will always disappear. In 2017, when Hurricane Irma went through, we experienced a huge erosion problem. Here on Honeymoon Island, Oasis Beach was almost completely washed to sea, as were many of the other beaches. The green line represents where the beach used to be. All that sand washed out by currents. Across the inlet, Cashapp Island experienced about 50% of its beach being swept away during the 2017 Hurricane Irma. The green line here represents where the beach used to be. From a further out view on the satellite image, you'll see Honeymoon Island on the top of your screen, Cashapp Island on the south of your screen, as well as 3 very distinct sandbars inside the inlet. This is where most of the sand from the beaches was washed during the storm. Beach reclamation, or bringing the sand back onto the beach, involves taking a barge with a large pump on it and placing it here, and then piping the sand back onto the beach. As you can see here are the barges that are set up to pump the sand back onto the beach. Now back on Oasis Beach, you can see what the beach looks like here. Once all the sand's removed, that's a lot of the limestone bedrock of the island that's here. And as we slowly pan out, you'll begin to see how much the beach is actually missing. The sand you see off in the distance is what's being pumped back up onto the beach. Once the sand is pumped up there and dries out, they use machinery to spread it out and pack it. The black pipe you see here is the pipe that's used to bring the sand back onto the beach, and then they use that bulldozer to move it around and make the beach back again. Here's a closer look at the activity, or lack thereof. I guess they have the day off on Mondays, but this is the beach being put back together. Typically their black pipes would be running with wet sand coming out, and then that guy would be bulldozing it over, and basically it forces all of that water back out and you get your sandy beach back. It's actually amazing how much of the beach is missing when you see where they're building it back out to. So that is just a basic overview of beach restoration. I thought it was really interesting. I wish they would have been working so I could have caught some of that, but maybe one of the other times that Mary and I go back to the beach, we'll be able to catch them actually in the process of doing it. And I cannot wait to get out onto that beautiful sandy beach. One of the unintended side benefits of beach restoration is the amount of shells that are brought from deep water onto shore, making it easier to find rather than having to snorkel or scuba dive for them. Another issue facing our beaches today is the top man-made issue of pollution, whether it be garbage that we throw into the ocean or things that we release chemical-wise or other into the ocean. Everything comes back eventually. Here in Florida, we also have a huge issue with red tide. Red tide is a natural occurring event. However, it is made much worse through man-made pollution, fertilizers, and other stormwater runoff released into the ocean causes algae blooms of red algae that suffocate fish and eventually kill them. The issue of red tide in Florida is one of huge contention. No matter who's to blame, both sides need to come to a realization that we cannot go on this way and something needs to change. I warn you, what you're about to see may disturb some, but this is the effects of red tide. Dead fish everywhere. And compared to some places, this is actually not that many. Everything from eels to horseshoe crabs to bait fish and other types of fish. The red algae forms thick layers in the ocean, forcing oxygen to low levels, that of which no fish can survive. Here we even have a baby shark that was caught up in it. It's a very sad reality that we face, but something that can be changed, and we need to find a solution to it, and I hope we do one day.